Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. I'm 25 male. My mom had a best friend named Kathy, whom she knew from her college days. Kathy was divorced and she had a son named Carl, who is 22 male. Kathy and Carl hung out with us a lot, and growing up, Carl and I played sports together, went out for concerts and so on. When I was 18, I moved cities for college, and life was going great. I would visit family during the holidays and summer break. In my final year of undergrad, when I was about 20, my mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer. It came as a shock to us because mom showed no signs at all. I was in my final year, swamped with projects and internships, and couldn't take time off to take care of mom. So Dad and Kathy took care of her while I was in college. I tried coming home every other weekend and spent as much time with mom. Nearly 3 months later, mom died. Even though I was mentally prepared, it was still a big blow. Kathy spent a lot of time consoling me, and I poured my heart out to her. But life had to go on. I got a job and was back on track within a year. 2 months after my mom's first anniversary, Dad and Kathy told me that they had something to share and wanted me to come home. So one weekend, I came home and they told me that they were getting married. I was a little shocked because I had not seen that coming. But I seemed okay with it and was happy that my dad had a partner now, and it was someone I grew up knowing so well and didn't think much of it. 2 months later, they got married, a small ceremony, and everything was good. The day after the wedding, my neighbor, who was mom's very close friend, saw me on my dad's porch and waved to me. I walked up to her to greet her and catch up with her. When I reached her doorstep, she signaled me to get into her house. Seemed weird, but I went in. She then sat me down and told me that she heard about Dad's wedding and revealed the reason as to why she was not invited. She then goes on to tell me that my dad and Kathy were having an affair even before my mom's diagnosis and were very much in a relationship while taking care of her. Apparently, this neighbor caught them kissing in our backyard and told my mom. Now, a lot of things started making sense, like how when I would visit mom, she would be so happy to see me, and how the smile would vanish when either my dad or Kathy entered the room, and how Kathy and my dad got married so quickly. I was so furious and barged into my dad's house and confronted them. My dad said that, "I know what it looks like, but we didn't mean it to happen the way it did." I asked Kathy how she could also betray my mother, and she said, "Your dad deserved better, and I was right there." I was so disgusted and left the house and never went back. 2 weeks ago, I got a call from a random number. I pick up the call only to find out that it's Kathy. She called me to help her son Carl get a job in my company, as he had completed his degree in the same line of study. I was appalled by the request and refused to help him and cut the call. Then she spams me with messages calling me names and how I owe her one for taking care of my dying mother. I got so furious and blocked her number. Then my dad, who hadn't reached out in years, called me, and I didn't pick up his call. Then he sends me a voice message saying how ungrateful I was to both of them, and how I wouldn't lose much if I recommended Carl for a job. Am I the a-hole? Update. Carl did go ahead and apply at my company and got rejected within the hiring process. I had nothing to do with rejecting him, as I had nothing against him. But when the rejection email reached him, Dad called and messaged me saying how selfish I was, and that I was a destroyer for purposely asking my company to reject him. He and Kathy went saying terrible things about me to my cousins and all. They didn't really give it a shit though, as they know what the truth is. You're not the a-hole, OP. I'm sorry about the loss of your mother. Your dad and Kathy are the a-holes for 1, having an affair while your mom was in her sickbed facing death. 2, for asking you to recommend Carl at your place of work and then getting mad at you for saying no. It's not like you own the company, and you have the right to deny their request if you feel like it. Kathy doesn't deserve anything from you. She betrayed your trust and your mother's, and I can't believe her excuse for doing all this is that she was there for your dad when your mom was dying. I would advise you to cut these people out of your life and live a very good life without them. Story 2. I'm 21 female and really enjoy motorcycling. My best friend got me into it when I was 18, and since then I bought a motorcycle and a full kit of protective gear with money I saved up from a part-time job. Motorcycling is something my friend and I really bond over, and it has a special place in my heart for many reasons. My mum is a nurse who is strongly against motorcycling because of the increased risk. She calls people who ride donor cyclists. I wanted to tell her about my interest, so I brought up motorcycling in general, and she would go off on a rant every time saying things like, "I hope you never get a biker boyfriend because it's always the pillion that gets hurt," etc. Because of this reaction, I didn't tell her about my motorcycling. I don't live with my parents and I'm old enough to do what I want without having to tell them everything. So if telling them does more harm than good, I won't. Well, a few days ago, my mum found my helmet and blew a fuse. She assumed I must be dating someone who was manipulating or pressuring me into riding pillion and said I was a stupid, spineless little girl. I told her the truth about my riding and she became even angrier, saying this was the stupidest thing I have ever done. I then explained that I was always careful. I never speed, never filter through traffic, only really go on well-paved country roads. No busy intersections, and I always wear full gear. This made her even angrier. She took my helmet to the kitchen to get a meat mallet and told me, "This is what happens when you fall off." She proceeded to smash my helmet, denting it and scratching the visor. This is where I might be the a-hole, or maybe an everyone sucks here. I yelled at her and called her a bitch for breaking my helmet. She said it was for my own good. I told her to F off and get out of my flat. She muttered something about how I would be thanking her later and left. As soon as she left, I burst into tears out of pure shock. I haven't spoken to her, but my dad has. He says that I should at least talk to her, but I don't want to. At least not for the time being. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, OP. Destroying your property was really inappropriate. She's allowed to be upset that you're riding. She's not allowed to destroy your gear. She's not wrong though. Motorcycles are insanely dangerous. I'm not going to tell you not to ride, but you should have a living will in place and make sure your family knows what your wishes are if you're ever not able to make your own medical decisions. Your mom was wrong for what she did, but at least try to understand why she feels the way she does. She has seen people get hurt from riding. It's understandable that she doesn't want that to happen to you. I wish she had communicated it better though. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Mom is acting like causing critical damage to, probably, one of the key pieces of safety equipment that all cyclists should have. Did the mom think it would stop OP from driving a motorcycle outright? That's dumber than a black light at an orgy. If anything, OP would be going out to replace said damaged helmet with the old one which is now compromised. Such a dumb move. I can't even. Not the a-hole. Being family doesn't give her the right to destroy your property to make a point. If she ever decides that watching too much TV is bad for you, would it be okay for her to throw a hammer through yours? No. As others have said, tell your dad that you are willing to talk to one once she A. reimburses you for the helmet. Don't let her replace it because I wouldn't trust her not to screw with it. And B. promises not to be rude or judgmental about the subject. If she can't be civil when she's the one committing a crime, why would you make the effort afterwards? Not the a-hole. She smashed something of yours and treated you like a child for not obeying her sentiments on the matter. While I have no doubt there's a degree of genuine care there, don't doubt for a second that the extremeness of her behavior is out of anything else but her desire to control in this situation. She's mad because you're an adult and able to make choices she won't agree with, and there's virtually nothing she can do about it. I wouldn't apologize in this instance because she went over the line. People will say, but she's your mother. But the fact is she isn't respecting boundaries, which mother or not, she has to respect, especially in your own home. Story 3. So, my daughter, 11 female, is undergoing a clinical trial for a disorder she has and must go through chemotherapy. We are currently in a different state at a children's hospital for the trial. We've been here for 1 month now and we'll likely stay for 3 more. My daughter's school, private school, knew she would be going through this. It was written multiple times. I told the principal and my daughter's teacher that she would do work and sign on to the class when she felt well enough, but school is not our main priority right now. So far she's not doing great. She's barely able to get out of bed and is having a really rough time. She hasn't been doing school and I really wasn't thinking about it yesterday when I checked my daughter's grades and it's marking her as unexcused absence every single day. I immediately called the school and they said there was nothing they could do and I had to talk to her teachers directly. So I called the teacher and she told me all about how she couldn't cater to every individual child's needs and lockdown has made her life so hard we shouldn't expect special treatment. I said to her that I do expect special treatment when my child is literally going through chemo. I asked that she please change the absence to excused. She said no and then started telling me about all the missing work my daughter has to keep up on. By the way, if she fails at the end of the year, she would have to repeat the grade. I got so mad and tried to talk to the counselor and the principal, but they said it was up to the teacher. And again, I got lectured on how hard it is to be a virtual teacher on virtual. So I pulled her from the school and I'm working on getting her into the local public school. The only reason she wasn't there in the first place is because it's 20 minutes away. But I was still so angry, so I wrote a post on the county Facebook page ranting about it. I didn't include the teacher's name, but I did include the school, and there are only 2 teachers per grade. And the other teacher in her grade is a man, so it was pretty easy to guess which one I was talking about. Luckily, almost everyone agrees with me, and a few other people are considering pulling their kids out of her class. I got an email from the principal saying this is harassment, and the teacher did nothing wrong and is just going through a hard time, and that I need to cut her some slack. Am I the a-hole here? Should I have just quit after I pulled her out? Edit. She's not missing 4 months of school, only like a month and a half. Most of it will be over the summer. I don't think she should have to repeat the whole grade for just missing a month and a half at the very end of the school year. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. You did the right thing by pulling your kid and letting other parents know about the situation. The principal is 100% wrong to not intervene and leave the decision ultimately up to the teacher when there is an extenuating circumstance such as your child's. I hope the trial is successful. Not the a-hole. That's ridiculous. She's hospitalized. While it's great to do schoolwork both for her education and a normal activity, it is absolutely not the priority. Chemo is hell, and this teacher sounds like Satan. Public school is probably your best bet, though, because they are required by law to accommodate your child's illness. OMG, I come from a family of educators, principal included, and this is absolutely appalling. You are so not the a-hole. Duh, school is not your kid's right now, she's going through chemo. The teacher is so out of bounds and the principal should have 100% stepped in. Do they have any empathy? Hell, I had a college professor tell me once that it was okay to turn in an assignment late because they found out my dog died. It is a good thing you pulled your daughter out. It's a bit hard to tell what your Facebook was, but if it was stuck to the facts like you have here, I cannot imagine how it's harassment. Then again, I have no background in the law. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I hope your kid gets better soon.